Hello Internet, my name is the Golden Stalfos, and today I'm going to do a bunch of speculating about Boruto. Um, I know a lot of people don't like Boruto, and for a while I was one of those people. I mean, the movie is awful, and it makes you hate all of the characters, and it's just bad. But, uh, but the show itself is actually really freaking good. And even the movie arc, as I expressed in a previous video, is better than the movie. And it actually, you know, expands on the characters and makes them look like what they're doing is worthwhile. And let me apologize in advance if you hear any weird background noises. Like, it's probably my dog running around and trying to be playful, even though it's like midnight right now. And she should be really tired. Um, yeah. But anyway, Boruto is a much better story than people think. And it actually has like a plan, which for Kishimoto is pretty big, right? Like a lot of like it's easy to look back at the story after the fact and think it was planned, but it wasn't. Like Kishimoto didn't even know Madara was going to be a thing. He was originally just going to have Obito be the final villain. And then, he decided, "Oh yeah, Madara, we could run with that cuz people seem to like it." And I mean, the same thing with like Naruhina. Like that was not the original plan. Obviously he originally planned for Naruto to get everything he wanted because, main character. But the internet was like, "Hey, Hinata is way cuter for Naruto," and then he was like, "Oh, if that's what they like, then sure." um, so it's really impressive that Kishimoto has actually created some kind of plan. It's hard to tell exactly how detailed his planning has been, but he definitely has something in mind because episode 1 opens with a flash forward to the end of the series, and we see, the final villain having a big clash with Boruto. So, like, clearly he has a plan, at least for the ending. But while he has, like, a clear plan, at least for part of the ending, it's also very clear that there's, like, a lot of stuff that's still up in the air, and that the final ending is very far away, right? Like, the Boruto we see in that flash forward is, like, 17 or whatever, and the Boruto we're following right now is still, like, 13, I think. Honestly, it's hard to say how much time has passed, really. Or I'm not entirely sure how old he was when he left the academy. Naruto was 12, so I assume he was 12. But then again, Naruto got held back twice, so maybe he was 10. Or, you know, maybe the academy rules have changed. It's impossible. I mean, his age is probably listed in like one of the manga books or something. I could Google it, I guess, but give me a second. Okay, hold up. So a quick Google search says that Boruto was 7 during the Academy arc and is 12 during the movie arc. And bullshit. I call absolute bullshit on that. There is absolutely no fucking way that 5 years have passed. And also, there's absolutely no fucking way he was only 7 during the Academy. Absolute fucking bullshit. 100%. Kishimoto, you're insane. I suppose that's why he thinks it's okay to say the war happened 10 years ago, because Boruto is only 7, even though he doesn't look... He looks older than Naruto did at age 12. Okay, this is complete bullshit. Heresy. Do not accept. Whatever. He's like 12 at the moment. Um... Jesus Christ. Okay, whatever. Anyway. So, So we know there is a planned ending, but we also know that a lot of things along the way are probably going to change. Um, and we've got a few years of the anime or manga left before we really reach the ending. Um, Also worth noting is that, as I mentioned before, Kishimoto has a history of changing his plot to suit not just his fans, but also his producers, right? Like, originally, he didn't even want to have a Naruto versus Sasuke thing, but, rivalries are hot, and it draws parallels to DBZ, and yay, money. That's what Shonen Jump was thinking anyway. And then it became so central to the plot that it's hard to imagine the story without it. Um, like, seriously, what would the plot be if Sasuke didn't run away? Like, just. I mean, I guess the Akatsuki could still show up, but, like, come on. Anyway. So. So, what I want to do today is talk about some of the things I think are probably going to happen. Obviously, I don't know what Kishimoto's actually got planned, and obviously things are subject to change, so, take everything with a grain of salt. But here's some things I think will probably happen. Okay, so first of all, we've been introduced to some really interesting characters and themes throughout the story. And in a way that I think might not have been noticed until very recently. Because, like, I didn't notice it until just recently. Not that I'm, like, the smartest person, but, about average. Anyway, the main theme is that all of the major villains, all of the big enemies have been science experiments, basically. They've all been, like, clones or golems or, things like that. There's been a lot of smaller encounters with, people who were experimented on with curse marks and people and, like, left behind relics of the artificial creation that is Zetsu and things like that. So I'm seeing a whole lot of artificial or manipulated life in Boruto. I mean, it was also a thing in Naruto, but not nearly to this extent. And I feel like they're kind of leaning up to something, kind of trying to figure out how they can use all these weapons together. And some of the attacks, some of these, creations, we don't know why they were created, and we don't know who made them yet. Although, now that we know there's a shadow organization called the Kara, I'm guessing it's them. They seem like they're going to fill the same role as the Akatsuki narratively, except hopefully not get off screen so much. But we don't know who any of them are yet. And their designs aren't very interesting, and their name isn't very interesting. I touched on that in the previous video. So it's hard to get too excited about them. But obviously they're going to be powerful. They have access to a lot of technology, and they were definitely doing biological experiments. So they're definitely going to be villains. And imposing ones at that. But the main thing is, I think they're probably going to have some sort of biologically created super soldiers. Because, okay, so throughout the story, the first villain was a little girl who was imbued with a super monster by her father for the sake of vengeance. And yeah, then we met the fake Uchiha clones. Then we met I might be going a little bit out of order here. It's all kind of fuzzy, but we met the leftover relic of the white Zetsu that had evolved into this huge hulking monster with multiple heads and multiple nature transformations, and it really just reminded me of Kakuzu. Um, and then we got introduced to these golems that were being made by Inoki because he wanted to create peace and make it so that none of the ninjas had to fight anymore. Even though, like, what would ninjas do if they didn't have to fight anymore? Like, that's their thing. We saw a bunch of people experimenting with curse marks, not under Orochimaru's authority, though, which is spoopy. You know, we saw a failed coup of the Mist Village, and that didn't involve any, like, weird clones or anything, but it feels like probably someone with a little more power, a little further behind the scenes, was pulling the strings on that. Could be wrong, but it's kind of what it feels like. You know, and just now we're seeing some people who are being experimented on with Hashirama cells. And yeah. Ooh, sorry. So there's a problem with that. But so basically what I'm saying is it's very, very likely that, you know, in the near future, we're going to be faced with, you know, some Hashirama curse mark golem people. Just, you know, with Sharingan infused, just to be all the crazy all at once. I don't think that's insane to say that there's a good chance that'll happen, especially with the way some of these technologies have been disposed of. Like, they never really caught the people who were behind the curse mark. I mean, kind of. Like, that one scientist who was there with them, you know, went crazy and used it on himself and all that. But I don't think he was the mastermind type because he didn't seem that smart. You know? And when they got rid of all the Uchiha clones, they just dropped them off with fucking Kabuto. And, like, yeah, no, Kabuto definitely wouldn't do anything evil with all of those Mangekyo Sharingan. Definitely. Like, for realsies? You just drop him off with Kabuto? Why is Kabuto even alive? I mean, didn't he get Izanami'd? Isn't he supposed to be stuck like that forever? I don't... whatever. I complained about that already. So, yeah, it's a little weird, but I think probably the Kara are going to have some sort of super army with, you know, some really powerful clone people. Or maybe they're just experimenting to put all of that stuff in on themselves. Who can say? Also, we did see, and this might be irrelevant, because it might have just been like a filler side story about Asuma's daughter, because people wanted to know about Asuma's daughter. But Asuma's daughter went on a mission and fought a guy from the cult of Jashin and beat him, obviously. So his plan failed, but, like, that opens up the possibility that there is someone else out there in the cult of Jashin who is, like, you know, following Hidan's path or something like that. And, like, Hidan wasn't that dangerous, you know, big picture. It's just Hidan, But if can you imagine if someone who was really powerful got a hold of that immortality thing? If there was someone like, Madara or something like that had that power. Also, since the guy who did the Edo Tensei is still alive and active in the story, there's no way to rule out more Edo Tensei shenanigans happening, right? He might do it. Someone else might learn the technique from him. I mean, anything could happen. Well, and not only that, but like now that Kabuto knows the technique, and I'm sure Hashirama knows the better version too, or not Hashirama. I don't know why I said that. Orochimaru. I'm sure Orochimaru now knows the better version too, and like we definitely can't trust him with a technique like that. I mean, come on. Ugh. And, there's no way of knowing whether or not these, really evil people over here won't do some Edo Tensei shenanigans. It's even technically possible that Madara could come back again and, like, he'd lose again, probably, but, we never saw Madara go all out, and no one is even sure what his Mangekyo powers are. And so, like, theoretically, if he comes back, he might be a real fucking problem. So there's that. I don't think that's likely. But, if Kishimoto really wants to create some hype and do some crazy shit, there's a lot he can do. The time travel turtle was like just kind of let go to roam, so it could do whatever it wants, including more time travel shenanigans. And more importantly, like it's almost certain that Naruto's gonna die or come pretty damn close to it, which sucks, but yeah, probably Naruto is going to sacrifice himself to protect Boruto or whatever, and Boruto's gonna have to train and whatever, and then fight the big bad, something like that. But I don't think Boruto can step up to the plate and become the incredible great shinobi he wants to be while Naruto is still there casting a shadow on him, And I think a lot of people are going to want to tune in just for that. The same way a lot of people tune in for the time travel arc. Yeah. By the way, I've got a separate video planned about the time travel arc and how it affects scaling and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Anyway. So basically what I think is going to happen is that we're going to see the Kara, come out and do some shady shit. Probably get busted up one by one until there's only a couple members left. And then there's going to be another big ass war with a bunch of fucking really strong minion characters, It's not hard to think that they were maybe behind some of the experimentation that's been done before. There's been some like hints that maybe there was some extra, people behind the scenes pulling strings on certain things. They might have gotten samples of those monstrous white Zetsu. And can you imagine if they took that thing and gave it, Hashirama cells and a curse mark and like just unleashed hundreds of them onto the world? That'd be insane, right? And they could maybe do that because they're, wild. They might be able to do that. And ultimately they're going to lose, of course, but in the process, Konoha is going to be completely fucking wrecked. And that'll lead into the final fight that we see, in episode 1. But I think that's a long ways off, honestly. I think we're going to have several more arcs where we see one of their plans unfold and get broken, right? Because, like, right now, we saw them send a guy into the land of valleys or whatever, and then Boruto's team went into the land of valleys, and then they found a guy who was being corrupted by Hashirama cells and dying. And so, now they're pursuing that, and it'll probably end with them coming into conflict with the guy that the Kara sent over there. And there will probably be several more arcs like that where they unravel one person's plan, then foil them, and then fight. And that will eventually culminate in the final conflict where we learn who these people are and what they've been trying to do this whole time, and yada, yada, yada. Also, it's worth noting that when you combine these artificial life form experiments with the artificial ninja tool experiments, it becomes very easy to believe that there could be some insane power walking around. I'm talking like Biju level power, just like hidden inside these little capsules, maybe not, but maybe. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I also think we're going to get several more arcs that step away from Boruto and focus on some of the other teams. And we're going to get those in between the big development arcs where Boruto comes into conflict with the Kara. Maybe they'll do what they did with the Akatsuki and have some of them, get killed by side characters. Like Shikamaru and his team defeated Hidan, and Guy was mostly the one who defeated Kisame and stuff like that. But, Guy and B, and, but anyway. But I feel like that wouldn't be the best use of the side characters. I feel like most likely they're going to have the side characters do secondary stuff. Duh. But I think it's important to see them, grow and train and become strong. But I don't think they really have a stake in the conflict with the big bad or his underlings. So probably they'll just end up fighting, other threats that show up along the way. But there's definitely going to be some more interesting advancement for Naruto's teammates. Mitsuki is already like super powerful and probably doesn't really need to train to get much stronger. But I have a feeling he's going to take more and more of an interest into science experiments and stuff until he's able to like enhance his body a lot. It just kind of seems like this is the path he's going on. When he went out to be with the Onoki golems and all that kind of stuff, like he was clearly gathering intel about artificial life and stuff. And I think while he's no longer going to do it for the same reasons, I think he will still have an interest in finding out more about how he was made and, how to build on that. Also, I think Sarada is going to pick up medical ninjutsu a lot deeper than she has so far. Because I kind of didn't even realize she had at all yet. But then there was this moment where, in the most recent episode, where a character, there was a medical ninja providing care, and she was like, hey, does anyone else here know any medical ninjutsu so they can help me a little bit? And Sarada was like, I took a short course once. She was like, fine, you'll do. So I have a feeling that might push Sarada into learning more about it. And, like, part of how this is set up is I'm almost certain there's going to be a point in the story when the characters have to, like, split up and do their own secret training for, like, a year or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that during that time, Sarada is probably going to learn the 100 healings. Well, because if they do that, right, it might make sense for her to train with Sasuke because of the Sharingan, but they've kind of already set it up that Sarada is going to train with Naruto and Boruto is going to train with Sasuke. But Naruto is probably not going to be able to teach her much, if anything, and he's probably going to be busy, running the village and stuff. And so, if she needs dedicated training time for a long period of time, it's probably going to fall on either Sakura or Tsunade. The 100 healings will be passed on, and it will most likely be passed on to the person who has the same characteristics as the two previous wielders, is what I'm saying. I'm sure that Metal Lee will learn to open the gates at some point, and we'll get to see more of that, which would be cool. I really do think... I really do expect there to be like a time skip where they go off and train with their mentors alone for a while. And I do expect that during that time, Mitsuki will get more body modifications. Boruto will learn a bunch of new techniques with Sasuke. And Sarada will pick up the 100 healings and probably her Mangekyo. Probably. I don't see her getting through the whole story without obtaining it, because, come on. But on the other hand, how would she fix the blindness problem? Because she doesn't have, anyone to steal eyeballs from. Maybe they can use one of the Uchiha clones. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be a problem if she wants to, reach the same heights as her dad. It's possible, though, that her dad is going to that it's possible that Sasuke is going to sacrifice himself as well, and that when he does, he's going to pass his eyes on to his daughter, and then she will have his Rene Sharingan that he got from his brother. And yeah, maybe. That doesn't seem like the most likely outcome, but it's possible. I think that's more likely than letting her stagnate without reaching the same heights as him, you know. But who can say? It's also possible that since they've been involving the alien people so much, maybe they'll have a run in with one of the alien people, and Sarada will, get some sort of magic to bypass the Mangekyo limit because of her interactions with the alien people. That seems less likely, but it's possible. Also, Boruto and Sarada have to end up together. They have to. It's just, they're perfect for each other. It has to happen. They're both such little tsunderes about it at the moment, but they have to end up together. I'm sorry, I won't accept any other outcome. Yeah, so that's my speculation. There will definitely be more mutated creatures in the future. Probably a lot of them are going to be created by the Kara. Probably the final conflict will involve a huge battle with these ultra powerful mutated creatures. There's definitely going to be a time skip where they go off and train separately. There's almost certainly going to be a huge moment where Naruto or Sasuke or both have to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the village and their children's future and yada yada. And, after Boruto and Sarada beat the final villain, Sarada gets to become Hokage and marries Boruto, and everyone lives happily ever after the end. Hopefully. Who knows? I mean, actually, in that flash forward, we don't see anyone except Boruto, so we don't even know if Sarada and Mitsuki are going to be alive. I think they probably will be, but it's possible they won't even be involved in that final confrontation, which would suck, but eh. So, yeah. It's also possible that Sarada will overcome the blindness of the Mangekyo Sharingan because of some interference from Mitsuki or Orochimaru, since they're still kicking around and they, do body modification and stuff. Maybe. So yeah. Yeah, that's about the size of it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is most likely to happen. And I'll see you in the next life. Laters. Okay, end card time. I'm supposed to tell you to like, comment, subscribe, all that stupid YouTube shit. There's a bell thingy, whatever. I have all the social media stuff: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Mostly I use Facebook and Twitter to tell you about my Twitch and YouTube uploads. I've got a Patreon, but Patreon is one of those things where people who can afford to throw away money give money to people who can't. And so if you can't afford to throw away money, then you shouldn't be doing that. And if you can afford to throw away money, consider charities. There's a pandemic, there's global warming, there's millions of people in the world who don't have toilets, which is just awful. So I've linked a few charities in the description down below in case you're interested in that. And if you can't donate money to a charity, consider donating some of your time, because that's also very useful. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.